Well, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday morning, the 19th of June, and the first thing you have to comment about is the fact that it's Beth's birthday today. So please send her a comment. Wish her a happy birthday. The 19th of June, 1979. So, wow, guess what? The big 4-0. We'll be celebrating on Saturday with our friends and our neighbors and that, but I just thought I'd bring that up now. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of videos all over on Saturday about the party that we're having. But for now, just wish her a happy birthday and many, 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 many more. What you're looking at here is I'm going to go over some just basic tools you need in a third world country. It's not like in the States or Australia or Europe where you walk into a hardware store and you've got your selection about everything your heart could possibly desire as far as tools go. That doesn't quite exist here in the Philippines, and I would imagine in most third world countries. So I'm going to go through a basic kind of a setup here of what you should have on hand at all times, and especially if you're living out in the country. If you're doing any type of gardening or farming here, you just need a basic set of hand tools, and most everything here is hand tools. The electrical stuff that we've gotten so used to, and the battery powered tools that America thrives on, and I'm sure Europe and Australia also, they're here in smaller quantities. I debate on the quality of them right now, and like I said, but for most everything, you need a good set of basic hand tools. I'm going to start off with the saws. You should have at least 1, 2, or 3 saws. I've probably got about 6 or 7 of them. A bigger saw, smaller one, and then of course I've got a real small saw there with fine teeth, which is excellent on bamboo and everything else in that. And then of course your familiar hacksaw, which is used to saw all your different types of metal rods. And especially if you're doing any concrete work or any type of building whatsoever. The basic tool here in the Philippines is, of course, what they call their bolo. I've got a bunch of them, as you can see here, and of course my favorite is the longer one there. And be prepared to replace handles and everything else on them, and be able to do just a little bit of woodwork on doing that sort of stuff. As you can see here, most of these garden tools that you see, I actually fabricated off something I found existing here. And boy, I tell you, to have some basic welding skills, and that's all I've got. On a 1 to 10, my welding skills are about a 1, maybe a 2 on certain days. So handy to have in order to be able to do a lot of things, as you can see here, where all you're able to pick up here is the head, and then to be able to weld some piping in, and of course we put a rubber handle on it. Here's my favorite garden tool for digging in the garden, for planting, for digging out weeds. And as you can see, I've got 2 of them here, and yesterday I just replaced the handles on them because you go through handles like crazy. Another simple tool like a hoe for gardening, and that, again, just welding a couple things together. Your small type hand axe, for doing firewood, and that is absolutely excellent. Another thing, boy, you can't have enough wrenches and enough sockets and well, what can I say? It's metric here, even though I find out some of the English stuff does work here, and especially if you get stuff shipped to you from the States. I was fortunate enough that I had a complete set of Craftsmen, and I actually sent those here when I came here, so I've got a complete set of Craftsmen in metric and American type systems. Okay, and as you'll notice here, electrical parts, water parts. We eat a lot of skyflakes, so I use the empty containers for different parts I like to stock up on. You know, always have spare parts ready in the sense that, oh boy, stuff breaks all the time. The heat, the weather, the humidity here just eats away at everything. And to be able to have spare parts, whether they're electrical parts or water parts, is just absolutely paramount. What should you carry? Boy, that is kind of up to you. Most everything here, the water lines are 1/2 inch, so I carry all the different parts and valves for 1/2 inch as spares. The electricity here, of course, is 220 volts, but like I said, so I'll carry all spare parts as far as basically outlets. Light sockets are the things that wear out the quickest. The outlets wear out, and to be able to replace those, of course, you should also make sure that everything is governed by a switch here so that you turn the electricity off before you work on anything. 120 in the States is bad enough. The 220 to 240 here, I felt a jolt or two already, and you don't want to do that if you can at all possibly avoid it. So, and all the different type hand tools here, from the different sockets to your different wrenches, your different vice grips. Boy, the more variety and sizes you can pick up, needle nose pliers, more screwdriver sets, more different types of electrical pliers is just, wow, so important. You're going to find 1,000 uses for them here. And if you notice my bag here, I keep this bag in the car at all times. All these sockets and that you see here, and most all the wrenches you see there and there, are in my bag in the car. In the multi-cab. As you've noticed by looking at our videos, we do break down, and boy, to have stuff at your disposal is, oh, so paramount. WD-40. Boy, I'll tell you, when you got humidity like you got in the Philippines, you'll be using WD-40. Oh God, just to lubricate the tools sometimes because they get sticky. Because like I said, the rust and humidity here, and along with the heat, is just destroys everything, you know, one day at a time. Oh, what else can I show you here? I've created some tools. You see a draw knife there. I actually took 2 bolos, cut them up, created a draw knife so I can do some shaving, wood shaving. And it's actually what I did to form these handles here to be able to shave the bark off, and then of course I put some stain on them and that in order to preserve the wood at least a little bit. If you live out in the country, boy, your creativity and being able to do certain things, which I've never been trained in any of this. It's just basically 50 years of using all the different types of things for different projects. When I lived in Montana, I built my own cabin. I actually cut down the trees. Oh yeah, I debarked them. I actually notched them and everything else in order to build a frame for my barn. My cabin was mostly 2x4 construction. I did all that basically by myself. So after a while, you learn how to handle a lot of different tools and that. And a matter of fact, my hammer here, another thing I brought from the States. built all my cabins, took care of all my projects when I was in Montana. I've had it a long time, and it's still pretty functional. I use it here, and boy, to have 2-3 different sizes of hammers along with like saws in that is yeah, another one of those things you should have. But I just wanted to kind of show you this to give you an idea. And of course, don't ever go anywhere without your coffee. Everybody here knows me because wherever I go, I've got my coffee cup in my hand. Fortunately, I was able to pick that up in Cebu when I lived there. No such thing have I ever found again. I found it at one of the hardware stores. I wish I could find another. Like I said, I'd definitely purchase it because this has got years and years of abuse behind it and that, but it still goes with me everywhere I need to go here. So that'll kind of give you an idea of some of the tools. I'll have to take you into my actual shop room here one of these days and point out so much more. I keep either creating different things for different jobs here, re-welding stuff. Like I said, handles, anything that's made of wood will disintegrate here in time. And as you can see by my long bolo there, I've actually put a metal handle on it, actually welded a metal handle onto it, because you go through that process so many times, and you finally just replace it with metal. This will give you a little bit of an idea. Oh, there's so many different directions you can go with this. But the Philippines is so basically hand tools. Any house they build here, and we've showed you some construction in the past, it's all done by hand. There are no machines, there are no electric saws, there are no cement mixing machines. It's all done by hand, and it kind of goes back, for those of you who have never seen this, 60, 70, 80 years to what we used to do in the States, in Australia, in Europe. We haven't done that sort of thing for years. We've become so attached to the convenience of all the electrical things that we have and the electrical tools. No such thing here. I'm sure in the construction in some of the cities where they bring in modern construction companies, yeah, it's there. But we're out in the country on one of the small islands of Bohol, and if you want to do a little bit of gardening or farming like Beth and I are doing, get a basic set of tools. And I recommend, if you can, ship them or bring them from the States, or if you've got friends that are living in the States or family, have them buy them and ship them there. The quality here is, oh gosh, what should I say? And being able to find certain things in the quality here, you got to realize most everything here comes from China, and that should speak for yourself. And because there's a no return policy here, basically, when you buy it, it's yours, period. And so China has a tendency to ship all their junk here, unfortunately. So if you're planning on coming here, already here, if you have friends or relatives elsewhere, have them send you some of these tools. You'll appreciate it. Anyhow, I better say goodbye from the back of the camera here. Again, a happy birthday to Beth.
Thank you.
And she's in the kitchen going, thank you. Yep. And if you just send any other comment, whether it's on the tools, just say happy birthday to my lovely wife. I don't know what I'd do without her or where I'd be without her. She's surely a gem. And that's so. Again, goodbye, and like and subscribe, and I hope God blesses every one of you like He has blessed us.